Amazon did what? All right, my name is Nate here with Hustle Buddies, bringing you tools, tips, and advice for Amazon sellers. Now, in today's video, we're going to be talking about the bombshell news that Amazon just dropped today about your business name and address to be displayed on your seller profile. Stay tuned. All right, so as I said, Amazon just dropped this huge news about your business name and address becoming publicly displayed here in the US starting September 1st of 2020. For individual sellers, we will display the individual name and the individual's address. This is consistent with the seller profile pages across Amazon stores in Europe, Japan, and Mexico. So if you're watching this from the UK or Japan or Mexico or one of those other places, this is old news. This is already going on with your account, and honestly, it probably hasn't affected your day-to-day operations very much, okay? In the US, this does seem like big news because this is not how it's ever been. And so I definitely understand and empathize with the people who are a little bit scared and kind of freaking out about this recent news, okay? I want to talk about some of the positive and negative implications of what this can mean, and then I'm going to give you some options about what you can do to change your address and then show you how to actually do that. All right, so let's dive in. First, some of the negative implications of this. So if there is a crazy person out there, it just became a little bit easier for them to know who you are, your business, and where you're located, okay? In reality, anyone who owns and operates a business, your business information is already public record, and this was already something that people could access if they understood how. It wasn't quite this easy, but it was definitely available for people. So I'll say for the really insane people out there who really want to mess with you, they can already sort of do that. This just makes it a little bit easier for the less intelligent, crazy people to do it. So I don't see a huge change, and I don't think the people like in Europe and Japan and Mexico, I don't think they've seen huge changes either, since this has always been the case for them. But just so you're aware, it is a little bit easier for people to find your information. Some of the positive implications would be, I think there's a really big problem on Amazon with drop shippers, and I think there's a really big problem with overseas sellers, especially from China. There's a lot of Chinese sellers who are doing a lot of black hat tactics, doing things sort of the wrong way, and they're sort of getting swept under the rug and not getting found out. I think this will help sort of expose some of the more fraudulent and bad apples among the sellers. And it should overall help the quality of people. I think generally it's a good thing to require a more professional appearance and a professional business entity when it comes to selling on Amazon. I think if Amazon was very, very easy, like let's say it was like selling on eBay, well then my grandma would do it and she could do it, and then the overall experience would go down because my grandma, great person, but can't really run a business, okay? Whereas with Amazon, like you really should be treating this like a business, and I think them requiring some more professionalism, I think overall is a good thing for the platform, okay? Now let's talk about some of your options. So I think there are really four main options that you can go with. The first and foremost, you can just not care and you can leave your address as is. If you're registered at your house, you have like a sole proprietor, or you're an LLC, or even an S Corp that's registered to your home address, yeah, it's not a big deal. You can leave it. I don't think that you're crazy for doing that. I think, honestly, the vast majority of people are probably going to do that. But yeah, I think that's a valid option, and I don't want you to feel like you are being foolish or crazy or anything else like that if that is the option that you go with, all right? Option two, if you do want to change your business address, if you do want to have a little bit more of a sort of veil of privacy, and again, I mean, in the end, if someone really wants your information, they can still get it if they understand how. But if you want to add just a little bit of a separation between your home and the business, you can get a P.O. box. That's a very simple solution. You can go to the post office. Usually P.O. boxes, like a small one, will cost between like $100 to maybe $200, $250 per year for a P.O. box. So not a whole lot of money, but it is some, especially if you're a small-time seller and you don't have a lot of money yet. So that is your first option. Your second option is to go to a UPS office and get a private mailbox there. Now, this is a slightly more robust option because your address won't look like a PO box. It will actually look like a normal street address. It'll be the address of that store, and your box number will just be the suite number. So instead of my company looking like it's registered at Nate Jackson PO Box 123 ABC, it's going to look like Nate Jackson 123 Main Street Suite 100 or something along those lines. Okay, looks a little bit more professional, looks a little bit more legitimate. I think there can be a little bit of a negative stigma with PO boxes, so that sort of takes it up a level. Okay, again, not terribly expensive, a little bit more than a PO box. It will probably run you between 200 to about 400 per year. These are averages. It's going to depend on your area. So go to your local post office, go to your local UPS store, and ask them. Ask them what their charges are for these things. Ask them what their different options are, okay? Every area is going to be different. I'm just kind of giving you guys some averages, okay? And the final option, if you don't want a PO box and you don't want sort of one of these like private registered mailboxes at UPS, is you can get a warehouse or you can get a commercial storefront, anything like that. That is also a viable option. There are many, many, many sellers, usually large sellers, who have warehouses, who have things like that. And eventually, I think a lot of people will want that for their business. Not everyone. For example, we don't want that. We are very intentional about we want to work in our home. So we don't have a warehouse, but it's an intentional choice, not because we couldn't afford one or because it wouldn't be useful or anything like that. I think getting a warehouse is a fine choice, and it can be a great option for this, okay? Now, those are sort of your options. What you need to do in order to legitimize the steps to that, don't just go into Amazon and change your address all willy-nilly. Like, oh, I got a PO box, I'm going to go to Amazon and change it. There's sort of an order that you have to do here, okay? First, you need to change your registered address with your state, okay? I'll use an LLC for example. I think a lot of people become LLCs. That's pretty standard among Amazon sellers. So I'll use that sort of as my example. If your LLC is registered to Nate Jackson at 123 my address, you need to change that first. Once you get your PO box or your private mailbox, you need to change that first to your new address. So now your business is registered there. So all of like your tax documents, all of your important business mail, all of that stuff will now be going to this PO box or that private mailbox or whatever it may be, okay? So that's the first thing you need to change. The second thing you need to change is your business bank account. Now, everyone who is an Amazon seller should have a separate business bank account. There are no exceptions because this is free and it takes you 5 minutes to set up, okay? Yeah, everyone should have a separate business bank account. So in your business bank account, you need to change that address to your new registered address, okay? And it should match what your company is registered to. Once you've done both of those things, then you can go over to Amazon and change your address in there. Occasionally, Amazon will ask for some more info. You might have to print out like a bank statement or something like that. But because you've done steps 1 and 2 already, you won't have to wait and pause and try to play catch up and fix mistakes of the past. You've already got all your ducks in a row. So once you go to Amazon, you've got everything ready. Okay, that's why I recommend doing it in that order. Okay, now I want to say this because in our Facebook group, and if you're not a part of that, facebook.com/group/hustlebuddies, in our Facebook group, we were talking about this today, and some people were worried about like, oh, does this mean I can't ship from my house, or is that where my returns go to? No, that's not at all what this means. This is just for your registered address. This is just where important business mail will go to. So like your 1099 from Amazon will go to this address. All your tax documents go to this address. If a law firm wants to get after you for something, it's going to this address. Okay, so it's just basically for your important mail. Your returns can go anywhere you want. You can send it to your house. You can send it to a company who handles returns. There's lots of things you can do with returns, but it doesn't change that at all. Your shipping from address, well, I mean, you can change that every single shipment. If you go to a hotel in another state, your ship from address can be that hotel, and that doesn't matter at all. So those addresses are not changing. That's not what we're talking about. This is just your registered business address, okay? So real quick, just a brief summary. It's very easy to actually change that in Amazon. Some people were asking about that as well. I'll show you a screenshot here. If you go to settings and then account info, that should pull up this screen. Once you're on this screen, you can see that button that says business address. You just change it right there. Change your business address to whatever your new thing is, and you should be good to go. All right. Hopefully that answers most of your guys' questions. I know people were freaking out about this in the post this morning that went live in our group. But yeah, let me know in the comment sections what other questions that you might have about this. How else can I help you sort of transition in this and all of that. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the video. And for this specific video, I think this is such big news. If you guys want to share this to other groups, to other friends, to other platforms like on Instagram, whatever else, I mean, that helps us a lot, and I want to help as many sellers as I can sort of get through this transitional time. So it would be awesome if you guys could share this in other places. We would really appreciate that a lot, and I think that we could help more people that way. All right? So again, drop your comments below. What else can I help with? And we will see you out there, guys. Hustle on.